In this quick video, we're going to talk about dividing by a fraction. So I want us to look at multiple representations, and the first way I want to think about dividing by a fraction is let's just try it in a calculator and see if we can actually do it. Does some answer come out? So here's a problem. It's 6 divided by 3/4, and I want you to put it in a calculator. Well, the problem is to put this in the calculator. If you just did 6, you want to make sure that it's a fraction that's going on here. So when you put it in the calculator, make sure you're using these parentheses buttons. It's a good idea just to get used to the fact that if you're talking about a fraction, you would write that as parentheses 3 divided by 4. So then you can put that in your calculator, and your calculator spits out an answer, and it's 8. But the question is why? Okay, we can see by the fact that we used a calculator, we got an answer, so it's possible. You can divide by fractions. But why and how? How do we do that? So first of all, we have to think and remind ourselves, what is division? Let's look at a problem, a simple problem of 12 divided by 3. Well, we have 12 items, and what we want to know is how many groups of 3. And so we break this up into actual groups of 3, and we see these yellow, blue, orange, and purple, and there are 4 groups of 3. That's what division is, how many groups of a particular type. So what about our fraction problem? We've got 6 divided by 3/4. Well, here's 6 items, and what we want to know is how many groups of 3/4. Well, to figure out groups of 3/4, we need to divide all of those little squares into fourths. And so you can see that I've made each one of those 4 little squares. And you can count up all those little squares, and you'll find out that there's 24 little squares now. It's still 6 rectangles, but I've divided each one of those into 4 pieces. And we are interested in 3/4. So that's 3/4, 3 of the 4. That purple group, that's another 3 of the 4. Here's 3 of the 4 and 3 of the 4, 3 of the 4, 3 of the 4, 3 of the 4, and another 3 of the 4. So how many groups did we get of these 3/4? Well, we have 8 groups of 3/4. So that's what dividing this by is we find out all of those fourths and then find the groups that are 3 of those fourths, and we find out that we have 8 groups of 3/4 in 6. So what happened? You wouldn't want to have to draw these pictures every single time, so we need to figure out an easier way computationally, and let's look at that. To find 6 divided by 3/4, what we did is we multiplied 6 times 4, because when we broke it up into fourths, this is where we said, oh, there were 24 fourths altogether. Well, that's the 6 times the 4. And then we divided into groups of 3. So if we write it in a math sentence, 6 divided by 3/4 is the same thing as 6 times 4/3. And what you might remember now is that what that is saying that when you divide by a fraction, it's the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. So we took 3/4 and we flipped it. And so here it is written out, is written as a compound fraction where we've got a number being divided by a fraction this way. So 6 divided by 3/4 is the same as 6 times 4/3. We could write another one, 18 divided by 6/5 is the same thing as 18 times 5/6. So we flipped it. And another one, 42 divided by 7/9 is the same thing as 42 times 9/7. And then just really quickly, we can see that you would cancel the 3 goes into 6 twice, and it becomes 4 times 2 is 8. The next one, 6 goes into 18 3 times, we have 3 times 5 is 15. And lastly, 7 goes into 42 6, so it's 6 times 9, which is 54. So that's about how you divide by fractions.